Hi guys, welcome back. Today's video is about my foundation routine. I wouldn't call it a full coverage foundation routine because I rarely, if not ever, wear full coverage foundation, but this would be my foundation routine for when I'm wearing more foundation. Okay? So before anything, I really take time to prepare my skin because I have mostly dry skin, dry to normal, but most days it's dry, with my main problem being dry patches and flaking. Before anything, I cleanse my skin using the Physiogel Dermo-cleanser for dry skin, dry and sensitive skin. This is what I'm using, the Physiogel Hypoallergenic Daily Moisture Therapy Dermo-cleanser for dry and sensitive skin. So it is a mild and gentle cleanser that's pH balanced and soap free. So they have other variants as well for normal skin, for oily skin, but this is the one I use for dry and sensitive skin. Let's begin. After cleansing, I use my Miniso nourishing and hydrating toner. So if you've been watching my videos, you know I always do this and I always mention this. I'll wait for it to be absorbed by my skin and then I'll move on to my moisturizer. I like using this because it has sodium hyaluronate, which is a hydrating ingredient. So you can just Google that if you're curious. And my skin loves it. It really plumps my skin. I feel like it makes my skin more supple, so that's why I like it. And then after this, I use my moisturizer, which is a new one. I haven't really found my holy grail moisturizer yet. I used to use the COSRX Honey Ceramide Full Cream Moisturizer, but I find that I sometimes get allergic reactions to that. I don't get like full-blown hives or anything, but I just notice it gets so thick and like a little itchy, and then it will have some redness, and I know that and I notice it happens with honey-based products. Like it kind of stings a bit, it irritates my skin. So I don't know, I'm not sure that I'm allergic to honey, but it seems that way. I mean, my skin is. So right now, I'm using the Banila Miss Water and Mr. Oil SLM Gel Cream. It's a water beauty complex with SLM mechanism. So I don't know what that means, but it's basically a mixture of water and oil. So it's like an emulsion, but it's like a gel with some particles of... I think the gel is the water and the particles are the oil. Basically, like a vinaigrette. And I'll probably have to add more than that when I'm using something fuller coverage. If you have dry skin, you really have to use something with oil in it, I noticed, because it just has a hard time gliding onto the skin. But if you have oily skin, you always use something that has no oil in it because you're already oily. Now that my skin has absorbed that moisturizer, I'm using the Banila Prime Primer in Classic just on the areas surrounding my nose here where I have bigger pores. So this primer is okay to use with the foundation I'm using because it's silicone based, and I am using a silicone based foundation mix. That's just how I would use primer. It's just like a very, very small dot-sized amount, and then just put it on the bumpy areas of my nose and on the sides of my nose. For my foundation, I will be using the Loreal Infallible Pro Matte mixed with the True Match in G2. So I actually got this idea from Jazzy Leona. Hi Jazzy! Thank you so much for this idea, because people mix Pro Glow and the Pro Matte together, but we don't have the Pro Glow, so I'll be trying it. I think Jazzy said that it worked fine for her, so I'll try it out. Let me try this out. I mixed it on the back of my hand, just one dot each, and now I'll press it on my skin. I have tried using the Infallible Pro Matte on its own as like a fuller coverage foundation, but I noticed that if it's not a particularly hot day, it can dry up on me by the end of the day and crease around my nose and dry up and flake, which isn't its fault because I do have dry skin, and the Pro Matte is specially formulated for oily skin. So it only works on me on particularly hot days where I sweat, and it settles very nicely onto my skin because of the heat and the sweat. And I feel it performs so much better when I'm sweaty than when I'm normal. So that's why I felt that I would mix it with the True Match today, just to see if it improves how it wears on me, because it's not particularly hot today. It started raining finally, so the weather is a lot better than it was. And I'm using a beauty blender because, like I said, I have dry skin, and using a brush just works terrible on me. It removes the primer on my nose and makes it flake. It also emphasizes dry patches. It causes micro exfoliation. It just doesn't let the foundation sit on my skin. It just immediately sets when I use a brush. That's why I will always use a beauty blender unless I'm using like a paddle brush, because a paddle brush doesn't cause that much micro exfoliation than a buffing brush. But it's just a bit more of a hassle because I still have to blend with a beauty blender afterwards when I use a paddle brush. So why not just go directly to using a beauty blender? Even though pro makeup artists kind of like frown upon beauty blenders. I mean, not everyone, just really the most I would say the most high-end makeup artists, like the most A-lister makeup artists. But you know, it's just a lot harder to use a brush for foundation than a beauty blender when you have dry skin. So if you look here, I don't know if you can see it clearly on camera, but in real life you can tell that I have dry patches here with my foundation. So it looks patchy, and you really see the texture of the dry skin. So what I do with that is I just pat it repeatedly with a beauty blender until it goes away. So I push it, I push it, I push it. Maybe it takes me maybe 2 minutes to really blend that in, but that's what it takes. I usually take more than 5 minutes just to blend my foundation, because I prefer a really skin-like finish. Okay, so what if you want to add more foundation? If I will be going beyond a coverage like this, which I'll be showing you, I would spray some Fix Plus just to remove some of that dryness, and then I would go ahead and add more foundation, because even on my hand the foundation is already set and my face feels already set. So if I were to add more foundation to that, it could emphasize more of the texture again that I took so much trouble blending. So I would use Fix Plus and then add more foundation. So I'll just let my skin soak in that, and then I'll go back with more foundation. And looking at the mirror, I love the finish that I did with my foundation, because I feel like it still looks natural, and even if there's some coverage on my pigmentation especially, but you can actually still see some of it, which I love. I really don't like covering them up entirely because I like my foundation looking like skin, like I keep saying. I'm like, I don't know how many times I've said that already, but because in real life, it doesn't really look like I put foundation on, but I know I put a ton of it on as compared to how I normally would. Like, my hand is covered in foundation, so I'll just finish the rest of my makeup and then I'll do my outro. So this is my finished look using my foundation routine that I showed you earlier. Once that my foundation has completely set, I didn't set the cheeks anymore with powder or anything like that. I just directly put on my powder blush, my powder highlight, and the rest of my powder products. This is the finished look. I hope this helped you in your foundation routine, especially if you have dry skin like me. But that's all to it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Bye!